Learn today's latest reports around these concrete efforts being made for this Serie A star, and surely there's no way we could even consider selling Andrey Santos. My friends, lots to break down, lots to unpack, lots to discuss. I hope you guys enjoy. Show some love, hit that like button if you guys are feeling the majestic work done today by my barber. Shout out Moody. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get straight into things. Okay, I need to relax. Boy, I'm feeling myself today, man. Been a long time since I got a haircut, but let's focus on today's latest interesting updates surrounding Mohamed Kudus, because reports in England are confirming the fact that it seems like West Ham may be forced to sell their star player to help revamp their squad in the summer window. This is music to my ears. As we all know, there's an €85 million release clause that becomes active this summer. Reports suggest that West Ham may in fact sell Mohamed Kudus under his current €85 million release clause. I think this makes a lot of sense. Now, numbers-wise, it's not been the greatest season for Kudus, but you can't really blame him considering the mess that West Ham have been this season. And they're in the bottom half of the table. So naturally, they know that no club will pay the full release clause for Kudus at the moment. And this explains why we continue to monitor the situation. For myself, it makes the most sense because you're potentially signing the best dribbler in the Premier League. That's statistically the truth. He is the best one, but he also completely embodies Maresca's ideas. He can play all across the attacking positions, in midfield positions, and he can even play up front. And he plays every role, every position to an extremely high level and extremely high ability. If there was an opportunity for us to go for Kudus, I'm going for this guy every single day of the week. And I also think maybe a certain Cole Palmer would be feeling playing alongside Kudus, a player that he really rates. As Palmer once said a few months back, Kudus is very good, like very, very good. I'll put Kudus third in this list he was like discussing in terms of like most skillful players. Kudus, he has it all. He's fast, strong, technically good. Yeah, I think he's a very, very, very good player. So he's getting the cosign from another baller himself. And knowing the fact that there's the possibility to sign Kudus for under his release clause, this is exciting developments. And knowing that West Ham will be forced to have to sell him because Graham Potter needs to revamp that team. They don't have much funds to work with right now. They must be strategic in terms of who they're selling to decide who they can then bring in as replacements. And at the moment, one of the most sellable assets would be none other than Kudus. Now, ourselves, Paris Saint-Germain, Arsenal, Liverpool, and of course, Saudi club Al Nassr, a club that we can't just dismiss just yet. Now, reports reveal that Saudi clubs have a different release clause value. That's set at 120 million. But even Al Nassr believe that they could sign Kudus for under the Saudi release clause, which is just kind of just reiterating this fact that Kudus is going to be about for a competitive fee. And I feel like when a player of his magnitude is available, you can't afford to miss out on him. We need someone that can create chaos, someone that can turn a game on a spin, someone that can carry the team to glory. We don't really have strong carriers, but I would love to add a few more of these guys in our squad next season, man. Having an Esteval, having a Kudus alongside what we have with Noni Madueke and even Cole Palmer at times. I think for how we play, with how we struggle against low block teams sometimes, you need this type of profile in your team who can problem solve by themselves, create spaces with their runs and their dribbles. And personally, this type of player kind of makes everyone else better. So let's watch the space here, because Kudus is going to be about this summer window. And you guys, is he someone you're making a move for? Or do you prefer other offensive targets? Let us know in the comment section right now. We have some very interesting reports coming out surrounding Andrey Santos, as Court of Side report that Arsenal are showing great interest in our star midfield player. Now, at the moment, it's believed that Andrey Santos is set to return to the club in the summer window after greatly impressing for Strasbourg this season, where he's already got 10 goals as a midfield player already. And naturally, clubs are going to be casting their eyes on a talent like this, and they'll try and take advantage of this situation. They'll try and tempt Santos. They'll try to persuade Andrey Santos and see if a deal could be struck. And personally, I don't blame them. I think this is an amazing compliment when big clubs want your big talents and your big players. And hopefully all this interest just reiterates the fact that we have a star in the making here. And this is someone we have to put our arms around, greatly protect, and make sure we create the very best possible pathway into our team to make sure this guy reaches his world-class levels. That's what I get from this, yeah? Anyway, a fee that we keep seeing rumored and constantly just like coming up all the time is this 45 to 50 mil valuation for Andrey Santos. And for myself, it seems a little bit low. I think if he was to ever get sold, you could probably get 60 plus, right, for his potential and the things he's set to do, because these are special numbers he's putting in this season, and he is the heart of all things Strasbourg, and he is one of the best young midfield players in Europe right now. But equally, knowing that many clubs are interested in him, I'm not going to just get too cocky. And I don't think the club should, because these clubs have the potential to talk to Santos, to persuade him to sign for them by offering them like incredible pathways in their team. Case in point, Arsenal, with Jorginho and Partey potentially both set to leave them at the end of this season. There's a guaranteed pathway into their team. We know Bayern Munich are showing a lot of interest in some of our players, Andrey Santos being one of them, as they're looking for that, that absolute boss to help their pivot midfield just go to that next level. And they're even looking at Levi Cole as well. So we have to make sure that we can tell Santos, listen, we know for the last 2 seasons you were supposed to be here, but we changed our mind. You've passed every single test we've given to you. Every single test with flying colours. He's getting A+ in terms of what he's doing. If that isn't enough to be getting serious minutes in the first team and serious focus at this football club, Santos, now with this newfound pedigree in Europe, him and his team might have different opinions and suggestions if they don't feel like his sporting ambitions are going to get satisfied here. I'm not saying this in terms of like, trying to find a negative angle. I'm trying to find cautious, realistic angles that we can't just get carried away because we own him. We have to respect the talent we have. And I really believe that he is someone that needs to have like a serious pathway created for him. To end things, the only way I see Santos leaving us this summer is 2 things. Number 1, Santos himself decides that he wants to go elsewhere because he feels like that's best for his career. That's a possibility. And number 2, if we were presented with ridiculous money, like someone is making bids of over 50 mil, I'm talking about 70, 75 million. Is that something the club would seriously turn down? They may feel, you know what, this kid's incredible. Many players beyond won't be garnering this type of fee. And we could use this money elsewhere in other positions, considering we have a lot of options in midfield. So these are some food for thought things to think about, yeah? Hopefully that doesn't happen, because I will be very angry and bitterly disappointed if Andrey Santos does not become our midfield player for the next 10 years at this football club, yeah? So you guys, share your thoughts and opinions on Andrey Santos. But the final big report, and I'm saving this story right to the end, we discuss surprise news around Zambo Anguissa from Napoli. One of the most improved players in Serie A this season, completely rejuvenated under Antonio Conte. Last season was a bit mid for him. He was exceptional in that Scudetto winning season under Spalletti, and it's great to see him show his elite levels again this season under Antonio Conte, playing what I would probably say is like another reimagining of Kante's defensive box-to-box midfield role in our title-winning season under Conte. And Anguissa's doing a lot of similar things tactically in terms of the responsibility he has alongside Lobotka. And between himself, McTominay and Lobotka, these guys have a very strong midfield partnership. And the news we're learning today from Gazzetta dello Sport is pretty interesting. Now, I'm going to give you guys some backstory on context, but at the moment, Anguissa has postponed all contract extension talks until the end of the season. And it comes down to a few reasons. Number 1, the player, after spending 4 years at Napoli, he's thinking about exploring a different division and a different league. And reports reveal that ourselves and AS Monaco are the ones showing a lot of interest. And the report reveals we are making concrete moves to sign Anguissa. Why? Because he is available on a free at the end of the season. Now, Napoli have the possibility to, activate a 2-year extension, of course, to try and gain some money from this deal. Fair enough. If they did that, it won't be like an absolute fortune they're asking for. I'd say let's wait for more context to come out around this contract situation because, I'm still not quite 100% sure if there's like a possibility that he could just leave on a free at the end of the season. If that is the case, then naturally, a player of his magnitudes and what he offers becomes a serious candidate for most teams. It makes sense that Anguissa wants to wait until the end of the season. Currently, Napoli are locked in, battling Inter Milan for the Scudetto of the season. They're level on points. It'll be a very exciting end to the season for sure. And obviously, you want to respect that competition. I mean, in Serie A this season, this guy's one of the best midfield players. 6 goals, 3 assists. I thought he played a brilliant game against Atalanta. But I think he set up Lukaku twice in that game. He scored, absolutely ran things. And, for you guys that know your football, seeing Anguissa's rise from his Fulham exploits to what he's doing right now, I guess, isn't a major surprise. And if you guys also follow Serie A football, you would have known that Anguissa's like one of the top mids in Serie A, and that's for good reason. One thing I like about him, which I've seen a lot more of this season, and probably explains why Conte feels like he can be that reimagining of Kante when Conte won the league with us during his time here, is that tactically he is very intelligent, he is very smart. Like, he's one of those players that, really analyzes the opponents he's set to play against, and he will kind of adjust his game accordingly so he can get advantages against the opposition. Now, of course, this is like a normal thing that happens in football. I'm not saying this is like some rare thing that is completely unheard of, but the execution of that, the quality of the execution, this is the difference, right, between like the very good players and good ones. And Anguissa is definitely in the higher echelons when it comes to that. And I really noticed that in his performance against Atalanta, where he was really bossing that midfield against them. Obviously, this guy has height at like 6'1", very strong aerially, offering us something we don't really have in midfield. I'd say his box entries, that stamina. Antonio Conte is amazing when it comes to just boosting the fitness levels of players. And Anguissa is definitely benefited and prospered from this style of training regime. And this kind of complements things that's already great about his game. I think this guy is probably elite with the ball control, especially in tight spaces. Of course, he can carry the ball. I wouldn't say that he predominantly uses that skill, though, to unlock teams. Instead, receiving passes, breakaways, arrivals in the books. These are the things that he will turn towards more, which kind of just encapsulates that experience that he now has at 29 years old. Listen, coming back to us now, just to end things on this, it is pretty fascinating that our names are linked with a player. Could it just be agent talk to try and, trying to garner more interest for his client, knowing the fact that he could be out the door on a free or for like a very low fee? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But equally, reports still reveal that we are linked with a few midfield players here and there. Then I just think to myself, how would this balance work? Enzo, Caicedo, Asugo, Santos, Lavia. Palmer has to play in the team. I know a lot of guys think he might play on the right-hand side. No. Palmer's not playing on the right-hand side, so a fullback can be the winger. That's not going to be the case. He will take up one of those mid positions. So, listen, I probably imagine Asuga will get a loan. I feel like he has to. There's no way he should be here. He's still quite raw. And I don't need a raw guy to be back up to Caicedo. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. We have Santos, who could also offer that. I'd be confused by this unless we can't see it right now, but we're going to see like some major midfield surprise in the summer. That is the only explanation I have behind some of these links at the moment. But anyway, Anguissa could definitely provide the squad something with the fact that he's won titles, won trophies, played across multiple divisions, and wants a new challenge now, and is definitely one of the premium midfield players in Europe, 100%. So I guess let's continue to watch and see where this develops, right? Because one thing we know as Chelsea fans is that our expectations for windows compared to how we end them are two completely different things. We never guessed last summer, during the start of the window, that Joao Felix would be signed, right? And none of us guessed that he'd be out the door like less than 6 months later. So let's see what happens. Let's keep an open mind and make sure you guys stay locked in on Blue Lions TV as I dissect and unpack all the latest news updates you can't afford to miss out on. So love, my guys. I will catch you tomorrow with some more videos. And I'm going to have a video doing a reaction on Dean Howson. So stay tuned for that. See you guys then. Cool.